Okay.
Hello, viewers. Maryann from Revealing Light Tarot and Dr. Victoria Skirbo here today to come together. People have been asking for it, and here we are to record a session for you. We're doing something a little bit different today, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. We've got a 3-question format. I've got 3 questions for Dr. Vicki. Vicki has 3 questions for me. We don't know what those questions are.
Wouldn't it be funny if they were the same questions?
Well, isn't that good? We might get 2 sides of it. So first of all, introducing my good friend, Dr. Victoria Skirbo. Hello, Vicki. Welcome.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you, Maryann. I look forward to this. This is like ice cream at the end of a meal. It's just there's always room for it, and it's always delicious.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Likewise. Oh, dear. So we've been actually chatting because we take time to catch up. And every time I say that I'm reading with Vicki, I say, my friend from Massachusetts, that's what I'm doing today. So anyway, it's been lovely to catch up as well. So who wants to go first? I'm easy. Do you want to ask the first? Shall I ask you? What do you want to do?
I guess I'll ask you.
Okay.
I am curious about the future of the Republican Party.
Okay. So what we're doing, we can use tarot, we can use all the clairs, or we can use an astrology chart as well. All 3 things. The future of the Republican Party. Well, I'll start by saying that even I think probably just after Trump lost, I started picking up that the Republican Party would be go through this split type, that they would be forced to choose sides, and we've seen that play out since November, really. At that time, I'll go back to a prediction then. I actually thought that it would become the party of Trump, and there would be a splinter off, and that Republican Party would form a new conservative party, which is sort of in the mold of the older Republican Party before it became extremely like a reality show and actually extremely dangerous. So that was my prediction back then. But I would like to throw some cards, just a few cards, Vicki, to see will the Republican Party as a viable conservative party survive? Because I think that we might get a clearer picture now after all the votes of those extremist far-right winged members of Congress. We know, we've seen what the splits are. I have to say I was encouraged by Liz Cheney, who I might add is a hardline right-winger.
Yes.
I think it was 145 supported her for her to keep her leadership, 61 didn't. So I think that is very telling. I think there's a core of the Republican Party that want to return to, let's just say, their right-wing roots and move away from this extremist. The question is, do they have the power to do that? And that's what I will ask. So will the Republican Party survive as a conservative force, not an extremist force? Will the Republican Party as a conservative, based on facts, party survive this, I guess, identity crisis, this, which way are they going to go? Will the Conservative Republican Party survive? So I just had something flick off from the left there. A very telling card here.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
Which is, as you know, the 3 of Swords, which is betrayal, heartbreak, loss. So people like, regardless of what you think of them, people like young Ben Sasse from Nebraska is also under attack. This is really painful for a lot of people. Whatever you think of Romney, he did vote twice to convict Trump. And for those people who have their values in the old, let's just call it I don't know, the Republican Party, a healthy Republican Party, let's just put it like that, a healthy political Republican Party, they're heartbroken.
Yeah.
And these are some of the people that have changed parties and changed allegiances. So that's the signifier card. What is challenging that is justice. So let's have a look at this. So heartbreak and loss is challenged by justice. To me, that's in the challenge position. To me, that tells me there's going to be justice coming for the extremists. And we know the head of the snake. I got a repeated picture of peacocks, and I said I'd go back and find out what the symbology was. And peacocks actually eat snakes. They devour them. They just don't deal with snakes. And so I think there's a kind of metamorphosis going on here, that this whole question of justice and bringing people to justice who have broken the law, these which are the extremists, that's what's happening now, that we're getting a really good look at extremists not being protected by Putin's former POTUS, but actually being out there in the cold hard light of day, with that image of the Capitol, I was going to say the Capitol burning. It was sort of like that, the Capitol being desecrated and under siege, and cold hard light of day. That's what this extremist wing is being seen as. However, the base of the base of the reading, or the foundation of the reading, which is the strength of the reading, is the Seven of Cups. So people are going to have to make a choice. And they don't really know which way to go yet, because there's still this final delusion that needs to be overturned. This is the, for people who go through therapy at the beginning, that's saying you can't see the woods for the trees is very important, because somehow things have got to clear for them to make a clear choice. Guess what's going to help? Justice. Justice is going to help them. So that's why I think the Democratic Party rammed through that impeachment. It had to be done. This trial has to be done. And Merrick Garland, the incoming Attorney General, when he gets confirmed, will have to do his thing too. And I think Biden knows that. I think Biden's strength is being seen a lot by people who wrote him off as not being strong enough. And that's a good thing. The only thing I worry about Biden is his health. But anyway, he's really strong at the moment. In the past, we've got running circles of support. This kind of let's all gather around Putin's former POTUS and all those other extremists and protect them. And hey, it's all a party. It's all a celebration because we're winning. And it's that kind of, look where these people are going. They're going right into the pool of water there. Mm-hmm. So that's in the past. What's crowning the reading is this. This is where I think the US is with their Conservative Party. And this is right across the board here in Australia. I did a reading yesterday, I think, where I stepped back and looked at the big picture. This is correct. This is kind of the card that I would say, this is where this is extreme right wingers are at the moment. They are struggling to keep up their end of things. This is an ending of a cycle. It's the end of a cycle. So is there going to be a new party? The Queen of Pentacles, a lot will be determined on who funds them, who their donors are. And at the end of the day, when all this justice is done, who is going to fund them? Things are moving very quickly with the Eight of Wands. We're going to get a lot more once this justice is moving through. we're not done with shattering the illusion yet. It's gonna be done big time, and we've got the Emperor, which is Putin's former POTUS here in the background. The justice that's coming for him is going to shatter the illusion. When that's done, in the hopes and fears, people need to start using their intuition now. It's really important that they do that. And finally, the outcome is the Two of Pentacles. To me, that says we're going to skate on thin ice for a little bit of time yet, until these Republicans can make their decision. But that's clarified by judgment, something coming to an inevitable end. So is it going to survive in its new form? I can't say yet whether the Republican Conservatives will win out, or whether this new party, because there is going to be three parties. There is going to be. Now, whether that third party is Putin's former POTUS's Patriots Party or something like that, or whether it's a cut down version of the Republican Party, I'm not quite sure, but you're going to have three parties in the future. One's going to be extremist and keep on with what we've seen, hence we've got this outcome card, and one is going to move back to a more conservative, viable future. And the two things that are going to determine that are the donors, who's going to want to donate to what, whom, and justice. So I'm really pleased at the end of the day to say that this will always challenge that situation. So that's my reading at the moment. At the base of the pack, we've got victory. So again, who's going to have the most chance of winning the election? I don't think it's the extremists.
It's interesting because peacocks, I believe, are sacred to the goddess Maat, M-A-A-T, and
Yep.
she's the goddess of justice in the Egyptian pantheon.
Well, that's my reading. Okay, now on to yours. Okay. I won't always pull an extended Celtic cross because it takes a while to get through, but I thought that was important to do that for that one. So what is a Pluto return? When our viewers hear us saying the US is undergoing its Pluto return,
Right.
what is the Pluto return for US, if you can explain that? And also how does it manifest? So you can choose cards for that part of the question. You can use your clairs, whatever the charts, whatever. What is a Pluto return for the US, and how is it manifesting at this time?
Okay. Well, of course, the Pluto return is something that can only happen to something like not a person, right? Because it takes 248 years. So nobody, as far as I know, has lived that long. Although that being said, your chart lives on past you. So you can be born and you can die and your chart is still active. And so you can actually have a Pluto return, but you're not in body. And so say somebody like Martin Luther King, like he was born in 1929, 250 or 48 years from now, we'll see how his Pluto return has manifested. So it's interesting like that. But really, states or countries can have Pluto returns. And of course, Pluto in evolutionary astrology is symbolic of the soul. And the soul actually evolves through its polarity point. So the United States has its Pluto in Capricorn. Depending on which chart you use, I tend to use the Sibley chart, which is a Sagittarius ascendant chart. Some people use a Gemini ascendant chart. There's also a Scorpio chart. And then there's also a chart that has to do with the actual Constitution. There's a Constitution chart because the Declaration of Independence was simply a declaration of independence. But it's the Constitution that was the development of the body of the government, right? So, but using the Sibley chart, the Pluto is in the second house of resources. Now, Pluto in the house of Taurus can be very acquisitive, right? That it can be, they want more land, they want more money, then everything is like, take with that. but it's also about being responsible and being responsible in power, right? The whole idea of America was that, um, you know, England was irresponsible with its colonies. It wasn't, it wasn't giving the colonies what it needed. So they decided to, say enough is enough. What is it? Taxation without representation. That's what we have now, interestingly enough, in America. We get taxed, but we're not represented because what gets represented in this country is the corporations that give the money to these people to get reelected. So really the key is, I mean, if we really want to fix things, we just have to take money out of politics. You just got to get rid of all
Mm.
these lobbyists, and then we wouldn't have a problem because then you wouldn't get rich being a jerk, quite frankly. So it's interesting that your reading talked about who's going to fund them, who's going to fund
Mm.
them, right? And
Mm.
that'll be interesting because the Democrats are, going to be doing some things. I actually saw something today where they were talking about reducing student loans by $50,000 for everybody,
Yeah, right.
which would be a huge a
Yeah.
boost to many, many people. I know people that I went to school with 30 years ago who are
Yeah.
still paying their student loans.
Same here in Australia. Yeah. Yeah.
And you actually can't claim it on bankruptcy. And one of the people that actually did that was Biden back in the day. He made it illegal to put that in your bankruptcy.
Mm.
So so I think he's a pay, like if he does do this, I think that's a little, karmic payback on his end.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
he has, I think he's been around long enough to have made many,
Yeah.
many mistakes. And I think that he's balancing the, you know,
Yeah.
right.
I absolutely agree with that. There is that, I get that clairvoyantly, that there's things he wants to do to heal both his past decisions and what he sees now. He's This is a big opportunity for him, and he's pushing forward really strongly with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that Capricorn can be connected to is slavery, right? Indentured servitude, things like that. And so this country was based on slavery and genocide, really. Because we wanted to take the land, this what's that called? Oh, there's an expression, manifest destiny. You manifest your own destiny. But you're
Mm.
taking people's land, and the
Mm.
things we did to the natives and the slaves is abominable.
Mm.
And that's all coming up now. That's all
Well,
coming up to be looked at. When Biden says we're here to, I don't know the expression he uses, to heal the soul of America or to find the soul of America,
yes.
he's right. And if
Yes.
there's anybody who can do something with the soul of America, it's somebody who's got like 4 planets in Scorpio.
It's Scorpio. I know. I
So
know.
so he's really like the perfect person. Of course, being a
Mm.
Bernie fan, at no point did I realize that until later, right?
Well, having said that, he's given Bernie the purse. He's made him the chairman of the budget committee.
I know, and the Republicans are just they're like horrified. They're like, I think Lindsey Graham said, we got to make sure he puts a collar on Bernie Sanders. I'm like, if anybody's getting a collar put on them, it's you, my dear. And we're going to see the
It'll be you,
pictures.
you
We're going to
rabid
see the
dog.
pictures when Russia shows its treasure trove of
Yeah.
of stuff, whatever. That's another story for another day. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Lordy.
So really, this is about us, coming to terms with our past and what our past
Yeah.
is based on. But the resolution of Pluto in Capricorn is moving in the direction of Cancer with the polarity point. And that's about nurturing. That's about taking care of the people. That's about taking care of the children and the women, and it's about healing, right? So it is that energy. Now Saturn was on the Pluto of the United States at this fall, right? All year 2020 Saturn was on the Pluto of the United States, And what's interesting is on the day of the attack on the Capitol, Mercury was sitting on the United States Pluto. So there was a message there. There was a message there. And I feel like one of the things that, and this is a little off topic, but one of the things that
No,
we have to come to terms with in America is that the reason that all these people, these QAnon people, and first of all, a lot of it has to do with the fact that we've been isolated through COVID. So people are not seeing their family, they're not interacting with people they would normally interact with. And so they reach out and they find people who sort of vibrate, who are afraid, or because all that stuff is fear, right? And of course, fear is a very Capricorn thing. Fear and oppression
yes.
and repression is very Capricorn. So as Pluto comes close to Pluto, all those repressed feelings are coming out. They're all just, you know, and so we're
What's
seeing
the
that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask, what's the positive of Capricorn? So when it's basically,
Responsibility, how we're
yeah,
being responsible.
yeah,
Capricorn deals with being responsible, being growing up, like and taking care of people.
in reality,
Capricorn is the government, right? The
yeah,
government is there to make sure that people's lives work. It's not there to control us. It's there as a structure for us to move forward. And the problem that I see as an American is that we're not represented anymore. And so you have all these people who feel like they have no power. And then the only thing they can do is, storm the Capitol with horns
can
on
I
and
can I pick you up on a point that you made before we started recording about, and I didn't realize that detail. So some of my viewers won't either, about the karma in what is likely instant, like I thought instant karma. Can you
right.
tell me those two things? Two covers two people who lost their life. Well, one person lost their lives, and then something else. Could you just again go back to those two things that you mentioned earlier on about
Yes. Yeah. Your volume is just a little lower than it was. I don't know what happened.
oh, okay.
I just know that the volume thing. We don't want to.
Okay, no. No, that's true. All right.
Okay.
Okay. I'm leaning forward.
Okay. So what happened was there was a woman who was trampled to death at the Capitol insurgent when they went on the Capitol. She was carrying a "Don't Tread on Me" flag, and then there were people banging taking flags, Blue Lives Matter flags, and beating the cops with them. So it's like irony is not dead, and I think all those things are symbolic. I mean, it's all very, very symbolic. And I feel as though one of the things that we have to come back to the beginning with the Pluto return. And so the question is America going to survive this? Are they going to be able to be responsible? Are they going to be able to take care of their people? Are they going to be because if people are taken care of, they're not going to rebel. What's the point? Like if your needs are getting met, and I understand, I personally have issues with people telling me what to do. Like I don't really like rules. And one of the things that, the more right-sided, things is like, don't tread on me, don't tell me what to do. I want to do my own thing. I don't want the government taking over. Um, you know,
But the people who trod on her and ultimately took her life are her own
yes.
tribe, her own
Mhm.
friend, who turned into this frenzied mob that weren't looking after. When you were talking about Pluto return, I got that image of the mask there when people don't wear masks, they are actually some of them could die from COVID, but they also can bring other people down with them. I mean, I don't think I remember in my lifetime when I've ever experienced, and this is not just US, it's in Australia as well, but perhaps US is at the extreme end at this time with your Pluto return. I don't think I've seen such. I've got no words for it. This kind of insanity. It's an insanity.
Yeah.
And
I
is
think
Pluto.
I think that's the media though. I think in part that's due to the, and not, not the people telling you to wear masks, but the one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize, and I think they're starting to realize, is that a lot of these people who are on the other side of, say, how we might live our life, right, or make decisions, or be politically uh, connected, is that they're getting a lot of their information through Fox, period, end of story. Fox
Mm,
News, and now Fox News, AO, the other, there's a couple of other
yeah,
the media
Newsmax. Yeah.
media things that are just, and now because Fox started losing viewership, now Fox is becoming more winged. I call them the wingdings,
Mm,
if you want a word for them, the wingdings. They're, and it's just it's money. It's just really money.
completely. Yeah.
So that's always something to consider with that as well. But the Pluto return is us coming to terms with our shadow. The Pluto is also the shadow.
Mm,
And the shadow of America deals with our abuses of power, which is what Pluto and Capricorn is really,
mm,
uh, what we have to look at. And
mm,
and the Pluto return is happening in 2022 and 2023.
mm,
Um, and then after that, we have our Chiron return in this country. And Chiron is in
mm.
Aries for the
Yeah.
United States of America. And one
Yeah.
of the wounds of Chiron in Aries is the fact that you think that you are the best thing since sliced bread, exceptionalism, narcissism, and a bully. And while America does
Mm,
have the ideals of America and the ideals of democracy, and the fact that we could have a democracy, even though we don't quite have a democracy here, that's important for the rest of the world, because the rest of the world, for good or bad, looks up to us for that. And I felt today, after the first time, like I was thinking about it today, and I felt like we're opening, like I think and you could tell me better because you're from this perspective. It's like the doors are opening, and like we were in this really dark place, and now the doors are just starting to crack open, and you can see like these the light coming out. And people are like, whoo, we thought they weren't going to make it. Like
that's it. That's it. We were looking on. There was a point where we were starting under Putin's former POTUS to write America off. And I think that's true. When I do look at the rest of the world, I think that that's what they were thinking too. If this guy gets re-elected, that's kind of it. That's the end of dealing with them and giving them that kind of leadership role.
well, had he got reelected, we would have been done.
Yeah, but
We would have
now it's like
done.
phew. And I said the other day in the video, I can't overstate how much that is influencing the rest of this. In Australia now, we are now putting our extremists, extreme right wingers, our neo Nazis. I'm just going to call them neo Nazis. We're putting them in the corner. We're saying go in the corner now. And I think this is what is going to lose our current leader who played those things up, received the military medal from Putin's former POTUS. I think it's what's going to cost him his position as leader of this country at the next election. And I don't think that no amount of spin is going to change that. People, the more that your country returns to sanity, and we start to see what insanity did, the more we go, ooh, there but the grace of God go I, and we are not going to let that happen here. So in a way, you've done us all a
We've
service.
done you a solid, as they say.
All right. Anything else to add before we move on? Did you want to do anything else with that question?
Um, I think that's enough. I think there was enough meat on that bone.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, we could talk about it for hours, of
we
course,
could.
but we gotta
That
put a boundary somewhere.
so that means I got the next surprise question. What do
Oh,
you want to ask?
okay. Yeah. So I was well, I had a thought, and it's not quite a question, but I had a thought, and maybe you can extrapolate. You probably had the same thought. I thought it was interesting that Biden won, got inaugurated, and then the Russian guy came back to Russia. What's his name?
Alexei
Yeah,
Navalny.
right. And I feel like it was an energetic shift in power
Mm,
from kind of Putin like pulling the strings, that all of a sudden there was a comeback, and it
mm,
had to do with America, and it had to do with this Navalny individual.
mm.
Um, I feel like there's some sort of connection there, and it may just be an energetic one that I'm sensing. I don't know if it's actually a thing. So
Mm.
I guess maybe the question is, where do you see Putin? Like, I feel like his power is starting to wane,
Yeah, you're right.
and yeah, so maybe like look at Russia and the what do you call those things? That everybody's out in the street. Oh my God, I just lost a
Oh, the
word.
protests.
Thank you. The protests in Russia. Why don't
Yeah.
you, maybe something on that? Because I'm
All
interested.
right. I'll just draw a short and
Okay.
Celtic cross. Um, uh, I think, will Putin be defeated by, we'll just call it the Alexei movement, or by Russia wanting its freedom, Russia wanting, and this is what the Russians do, it's around money. And that's what they did with the Tsar, and why we saw a communist revolution, because ultimately the oligarchs take, whether they're the czarists, or royalty, or whatever, they're taking money away, and so enough people are starting to realize they're not getting their fair share of the pie. So let's just have a look. Will Putin lose his power? He's been cut down a lot by this Alexei. Now, I have had people say Alexei has been known for his racist comments in the past. The question here, though, is that he is leading some kind of pushback against Putin.
Right.
So let's have a look. Will Putin lose his power? Will Putin lose his power? Okay, so we've got the grief and loss, the Five of Cups card here. So blood is going to be spilt. I don't think the protesters are going to go away anytime soon. And I do actually have always thought that Alexei may lose his life at some point in prison. So that's only going to further things. At the moment, we've got this kind of energy with this Three of Cups in the challenge position. So it's an emotional movement at the moment, which is what we've not seen before. And this is what's so dangerous for Putin. Now, people kind of, I don't know if you've seen footage of Putin's palace. Putin is the richest man in the world, but it's this kind of energy, while other people are going without, and it's that rich versus poor divide that Russians are so that motivates them to want their share, fair share. At the base of the pack, we have the Queen of Wands. We know she's a movement. I would look to some of the female spokespeople now, and I'm going to Alexei's wife. She's become a spokesperson. So even if he loses his life in prison, she will carry things on. And I'm tending to think that she might ultimately lead the protests in the coming months and years. We've got him here as the Knight of Wands in the past, this movement here. for freedom, freedom from oligarchy, freedom from poisonous, corruption. And that's what Putin represents. Be patient 2 years. I think this can be, months, but this is a movement that comes to fruition in time, which is telling me ultimately, yeah, he's going to lose his power. And how is he going to lose his power? With the Four of Wands, the community's coming together, the protesters are coming together. This is a revolution that's going to build. If I was in Putin's chair, I'd be wary now, because even if he kills Alexei, he's just going to give the movement more. This is a movement that can't be stopped because it's based on emotions. Now, at the base of the pack, we have the Nine of Wands. This is Alexei in prison. Let's see what else is coming here. The Nine of Cups. So we've got some kind of, again, wish fulfillment, and this kind of, the energy of the collective starts to manifest when enough people want something to happen. And we've got the Seven of Wands and the Death card here. And the past. So I think, I have to say, I didn't want to say it in the reading I did on him. I don't think he's coming out of prison. Let's just put it like that. Yes. And I think that his wife, will carry things on, and the protests are only going to grow. And ultimately, from those cards, Putin's going to lose his power.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question for you. Is Putin's former POTUS, who also lost his power, is he going to stage a comeback? Because that's the question I get. It's going to run in 2024. I know what I get, but I want to see what your cards are going to say. Is Putin's former POTUS going to stage a comeback?
Okay. All righty. All right. We have the Eight of Pentacles to start with. So he's working on it.
Yeah.
He's definitely working on it. And sometimes this card strikes me as, and especially for him, it's like doing the same thing over and over and over again. So his plan hasn't changed. So whatever he did previous, he's going to continue to do, but he's working on it. So let's see what's challenging that. The Fool. This, of course, it can be many things. He's foolish to think so. We could say that with this card. But this is the Uranus card, and he is an Uranian influence. Definitely, he has his Sun conjunct his North Node, conjunct Uranus, in his 10th house, which is the house of the presidency, or the house of the leader, right? So his energy was to come and disrupt. But once it's done, it's done. And it's like, you're done. You did your job. Now you get to, so let's see what's at the root. The King of Pentacles. So this is money. So I think he's, it comes down to money, I think, for him. And that's what you said about so, all right, let's continue. The Two of Swords in the past. I feel like this has been an inability to take an action against him. Yeah. I feel like this was, and then, you ask the question, or everybody asked the question, how come he kept getting away with everything? He never got caught. Well, it wasn't really him. It was his relationship with the Republicans that created the not being caught kind of thing, right? So he was in a partnership. But there was no way. It was like, you were always like this, you always felt like your hands were crossed. And here's little Lord Fauntleroy himself. This card always reminds me of him. He's like, look at my cups. They're so beautiful. Look how beautiful I am.
Yeah.
So he certainly is wishing it to be so. Now he's a proponent of Norman Vincent Peale, right? Yeah. Thinking that thinking that the power of positive thinking, the power of positive thinking.
Yeah.
And so he's sure of it. He's sure he's going to come back.
Yeah.
He's sure.
The
And
will.
but unfortunately, we have the Queen of Swords in his future, and that to me seems like Letitia James. So
Yeah.
I do not think that he's gonna just he's convinced. Of course, he's delusional, which is we know, and he's going to continue to do what he's going to do. Right? He's going to do the
Mm.
same thing over and over again. But his time is over.
Yes.
His time is over. Maybe he can have some sort of influence on that third party.
Mm.
But I don't even think that's going to last very long.
Mm.
And I'll tell you why I don't think that's going to last too long. We might hear of it throughout the year. I think by I think the what's happening, and you probably know this as well as I do, is that what the Republicans are doing now is that they're not thinking about what's going on now. They're thinking about 2022. They're thinking,
Mm.
and they're convinced because they're convinced they're going to get the House in 2022.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
they're working towards. So whatever's
Mm.
going to get them the House is where they're going to put their energy, right? And
Mm.
that could be the crazies, but I don't think the crazies are gonna last that long. This
Mm.
year, the major aspect that's occurring this year is a square between Uranus and Saturn, and it's a last quarter crisis in consciousness square. So it's about questioning authority. The only way now it could, you know, give us big problems if we don't work the energy right. And the way to work the energy is to make sure that people get their needs met. If people
Mm.
get their needs met, there's no reason really, no real reason, not a lot of people. You'll have, of course, the people on the edges that are always going to be that way. But there's not going to be any reason for us to want to go there. And I think that Americans are exhausted
Yeah.
and what's going to happen is that we're going to realize just how traumatized we are. I don't
Mm.
know if you had an opportunity to watch AOC's. She described her what happened on the 6th and what happened to her.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
did. I did, and I was very moved by it. And it comes back to the abuse again and not tolerating abuse. And I noticed that that a group of people got together and overtook the hashtag, a
AOC lied.
yeah, and I thought that was beautiful because I kind of saw that it's like she was okay just to put herself back like that because there were enough people who were going to protect her. And so I went from being horrified by more abuse being piled upon that woman to knowing that she was protected, and that meant a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Right, you've got one more question for me. Well, I got
Um,
one.
okay. So will the Republicans vote to vote guilty
Mm.
on the impeachment side?
Yeah, I'm almost looking at this daily because I'm so much is riding on it. The readings that I picked up before show that there is a glimmer of light that enough will, because of this, and then we know the Republican Party will survive, and that third party is going to be something that Putin's former POTUS is going to organise. That's a defining moment, and if they don't vote to convict him, then the Republican Party is obviously the party of Putin's former POTUS. So I've been on this every day, trying to get some kind of indication, and I'm not getting a clear reading on it, but I'm tending to go toward there's a slim chance at this stage, but let's see what this reading will bring. I'll just do a short and Celtic cross. Will the Republicans, enough Republicans, vote to convict? Will Republicans, enough of them, join with the Democrats to convict him? So I'm getting an image of the Two of Swords So that tells me it's going to be a huge decision. Now, the Three of Wands, she keeps coming up a lot, showing me that, well, yes, there's the foreign influence, but it's also coming forward. I'm just going to go with the positive orientation for this card. And that is that enough work has been done by those behind the scenes, including McConnell and others who want to rescue the Republican Party, that enough have been doing this work behind the scenes to get the vote over the line. However, we've got the challenge being the Knight of Swords. So again, the truth seems to be challenging whether or not enough work has been done. So there are a lot of people in the Republican Party who have things to hide. And when Democrats say that the senators who may have been involved in this shouldn't be voting as jurors, they're absolutely correct. They don't want the truth to come out because it will take them down. But the fact that I know that McConnell, who we used to call Moscow Mitch, and Pence and those, this is a powerful wing of the Republican Party who are now working behind the scenes to get Putin's former POTUS convicted. The base of the pack is strength. The foundation of the reading is strength. Now let's see what that strength is there. Strength of Putin's former POTUS's control, or strength in that the Congress, the Senate, will finally show the true meaning. And that's a Leo, isn't it? Which is interesting. So in the past, we've got a plan here. Again, the Ace of Wands, a new start. So I'm still getting that really strong energy that enough of them might be doing behind scenes to break away from Putin's former POTUS. And we've got, crowning the reading in the sky, got the King of Wands. Now, you know that is courage. You know that's leadership. You know that's stepping forward. So I'm still getting some really strong, but here in the future, we've got this Eight of Pentacles. Now, I know your take on the Eight of Pentacles, which is, my take, I keep pulling. That's what I pulled 3 weeks ago as the outcome card for whether or not he'd be convicted. Now, in this deck, they are building foundations. That's what the meaning of this card in this deck is oriented toward. Strengthening foundations, building foundations when it's positively oriented. When it's negatively oriented, it talks to me about Putin's former POTUS's control of the money, but it's also money laundering as well. So now we're getting that justice card coming in here. It's clarified by the Three of Cups. So again, I'm not getting a clear read. We do have victory at the base of the pack, which, as you know, is a yes card. So quickly, Victoria, if you can bear with me, I'll just draw a clarifier on this, just to be sure about if I can. Again, this Eight of Pentacles is the outcome. Now, whether that's strengthening and rebuilding foundations, or whether there are those senior members of the Republican Party that have enough skill and who are also being directed by donors, I might add, to get rid of this bloke. Let's have a look. Show me clearly what this Eight of Pentacles is, please, Spirit. Okay, so I've got light coming in from the right, so show me clearly. The Judgment card, an inevitable ending. King of Swords. So there's my clarity, and the light has come into the room, so I can take it. This to me, two kings crowning the reading. I'm going to go out on a limb and say there is a good case for convicting him that the Democratic Party are going to present, which will make it impossible for those to vote against not convicting him. coupled with what McConnell might be doing strategically behind the scenes to get rid of his influence, I think there's a chance that they will vote to convict him, and I'm just going to go with that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but that's what I see.
Yeah, it almost makes sense in a way, because if he gets convicted, it's hard to say. I was going to say, if he gets convicted, then I think the Republicans would go a long way to righting the 4-year wrong that they did. But I'm not real. That I'm coming from a place of, um, you know, I think we all sort of come from a place of, what would I do? I would have integrity, and I'm not sure that's a place they know about anymore. There are good people out there. There are good Republicans. They have a different perspective than I do, but they're patriots, and I think that the I think that he went too far with
Yep.
the.
And you know what I think it's going to come down to, what that 8 of Pentacles is? I think, we need to look at the membership of the Republican Party and who in the membership has the power. And the membership of the Republican Party are big business, big corporations. And they know that with Putin's former POTUS and what he's done, that there is no future for that in the US as a superpower and the Capricornian stuff. Somewhere there's got to be a meeting of that kind of big business. Now, we know that they withdrew a lot of their donations.
Right. After that.
And that was a very powerful moment. I've posted on my Facebook an article by Time, and it looks at the campaign behind getting rid of Putin's former POTUS. And basically big business, or what we would consider to be the right-winged type of big business part of the Republican Party, or just big business, came together with the left and pushed money into a campaign to get rid of him. So they funded people to door knock. They funded people to man the polls. They funded people to volunteers, whatever training people go through. There was a whole bunch of funding, and not just advertising, but on the ground to go and register voters. And it was the meeting of this kind of big business and the left coming together because of the danger that Putin's former POTUS presented. So somehow 8 of Pentacles has to encompass donors putting pressure on McConnell et al. To say, cut him off. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I did a reading, and
okay,
and it did look like he was going to get convicted, and I was surprised that it came out that way. But we're in a new energy.
Yep.
We're in a new energy, so it doesn't necessarily have it's almost like the past doesn't matter anymore. It's just what we're doing in the present moment.
Exactly. Now I've got a last question for you.
Okay.
What is the current mood in the US? Is it one of glimmers of optimism after 4 horrendous years? Or are people still in that energy of, the ship's going to sink, we're not going to make it, we're not going to survive, our democracy is gone? What is that mood there? Or what is that energy, I should say? What is the energy there in the US about the future of their country, of your country?
I just want to give it a good shuffle. That's definitely worth a good shuffle.
Yep, it is.
Oops. Oh, this is the card that popped out. Well, that's pretty optimistic. The Ace of Wands.
Absolutely.
Ace of Wands. It's interesting because in Kabbalah, in the numerology that I use, the Ace of Wands is actually a 9 vibration. It's a 27-9 vibration, and so it's an end and a beginning. but it's new, it's creativity. I personally, I feel like there's a surge of creativity and energy to fix what's broken, quite frankly. All right, let's see what's going the wrong way. Okay. This is the challenge, healing,
Mm.
chariot underneath. These are all pretty positive, I think. The past, the ace of cups, hope,
Yes.
hope. Yeah, a lot of mourning. This is in the sky. So we're grieving. There's a lot of grief. There's still a lot of grief that we're going to be experiencing. But to a certain extent, the soul, that Capricorn, as I said, Capricorn will often suppress, right? Suppress the feelings. And what the polarity point being in Cancer requires us to do is feel the feelings. And so we are it is a river of tears for us here. And rest
Yeah.
and we're still kind of we're still like in the COVID. We're still, I think they said 10,000, we had 10,000
Yeah.
deaths or five, I know, some crazy number of deaths.
Yep.
Um, celebration.
Yeah.
So um
Yeah.
the Six of Cups in the domestic situation, um, coming back to family, the sort of in family values that are real family values, not like the family values that the Republicans always talk about. Um, hopes and fears, waiting for our ships to come in. So I think we're generally optimistic. And the Seven of Pentacles, there's a lot of work ahead.
Yeah.
So I personally feel, and this could just be me, that people are ready to fix it. People are ready to do what needs to be done to to you know to. So I would say that we're very emotional, but I think we're tired. I think we're tired of the excitement. I think people just want things to kind of get back to normal. Of course, there's no
Yeah.
such thing as normal anymore.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're moving in the right direction. I feel like we're
Yeah.
moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And healing is happening, but it is a challenge. And I think the healing card, the temperance card crossing the card of new beginnings really is talking about how well we handle the COVID situation, because we can't really start anything until people feel like it's safe to go
Mm.
outside and start living their lives again, because most people can't live their lives stuck in their homes and not interacting with other people. So
Mm.
I think we're on the right track. I'm optimistic. I think those cards were mostly optimistic, but with big challenges. And
Mm.
I think we're ready to. I think after sitting around for 4 years and not being able to do anything, sitting on our hands, hanging, you know, it was sort of like we were in the hanged man. All we could do was observe what was going on, and we saw these people suffering. There was nothing, and of course that's only coming from my side of the story, because I'm sure that people who were supporters of him felt very different. But I feel as though now we're ready to work. Now we're
Mm.
ready to work, and that's what it feels like to me. So I think I answered the question, but I'm not sure.
You absolutely did, and I resonated with everything that you intuitively, all those cards, as you were pulling them, I thought, yep, 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 yep. And also just want to say, for people who are tired and it is time to rest, and Vicky and I were talking about stepping back and looking at the big picture. Every time we do that, we move away from fear. Because that Eight of Swords energy, which is that restriction, I heard someone describe it, a tarot reader describe it. I have never heard it described like this before. It's like having a door, being that far away from a door, and not being able to see or move, or it's a restriction. But if you step back, you can actually see the handle to open the door. So I do think that Four of Swords is just, you know, if I could say one thing right now, it's like, stop,
Yes.
rest.
Mhm.
So there's so much to talk about, Vicki, but I know that we both have to have to get on with things. But I hope that we can do this again soon. I absolutely love shooting the breeze, literally
Me too.
shooting the breeze with you, and I look forward to doing that again soon.
Me too. Me too.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye bye, everyone. Namaste. We love you.